The FujiCast is an independent Loading Zone production.
Before we get to wedding season, domestic bliss is the sort of stuff that we talk about. We were talking about Barney with his trotters last week. This week, Albs, he's now walking home alone.
Home alone.
By himself.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's like...
He's all grown up. He's all grown up.
Yeah, he's all grown up. Easter is normally when they do it.
Yeah.
The year 6s or 7s or whatever they are, the last year of primary school. Normally in April, they say, right, you can, as long as your parents are happy, you can walk home from school by yourselves.
Yeah.
But this year, on Monday, they just sent a letter home saying, if you're happy for your child to walk home from school from tomorrow, you can. And I was like, whoa, I am not prepared for this. I'm emotionally bankrupt right now because I like going to this office. I like going to the school at 3:20 every day. I pick him up, I bring him to the studio. He sits here with me and trashes the studio in 20 minutes. And now all of a sudden, he doesn't need me anymore.
No, that's it. He doesn't need, because what he's doing, he's leaving and he goes to the pub and then he goes home. See now?
Oh, my word. I am literally, they were like, yeah, it can happen tomorrow. I was like, no, you do not understand.
Not on my watch.
With 6 weeks preparation time for this huge monumental. I may never go to the school again.
Oh, Kev.
I've been going since Rosa was a teeny weeny bit.
What are you going to do the day that he says, the day he comes home from the pub the first time? A little bit worse for wear.
Oh, well, as long as it's not my money he's been spending, I don't mind, because that's what he came home. He came to the studio yesterday. I said, you make sure you're here by 3:25. Yeah. They finish at 3:20. I said 3:25. He came charging in, brought his friend Charlotte, bless her, bright red, puffy, because they've been sprinting. And they we got here by 3:25, Dad. We got here by 3:25, Dad.
Oh, that's nice.
And I have £5 to go to the co-op. That was the next words out of his mouth.
I tell you what, that's going to bankrupt you.
The FujiCast.
You're already spending enough in the co-op,
emotionally and financially.
Yeah, financially. How much do you spend in the co-op a week?
Hundreds.
No, it must have gone down a bit since the idea of popping out to get another crate of beer.
That's true. Less than so basically hundreds minus 6 bottles of wine and 25 beers. However that is.
What on earth are you spending your money on if it's not the alcohol now, Kev?
Oh, everything.
God. Right, welcome to the FujiCast. You and your questions from our electronic mailbag, and of course also through the FujiCast private Facebook group that you're welcome to become a part of. Send your mails to click@fujicast.co.uk, and of course we have a thread in the Facebook group if you'd like to leave your questions there. If you're not a Fujifilm shooter, don't worry, it's a big community. Whatever flavour you shoot, even if it's a Nikon, you're very welcome. Right, we did bump to the fronts last week, Kev, but I don't think we've got any this week, have we?
Nope.
We're back to normal on that one. And our guest today is Lucy Hamidzadeh, the street portrait and commercial photographer. So, questions, Kev. Facebook. Okay. We do. At this point, I know sometimes we do say we need questions, but we do. I know sometimes you wait for somebody else to send one in first, but send one in.
John Kelly. Now this is strap yourself in. Okay, this is a contentious one. He even starts by saying, "I have what could be a contentious question. I must add that these views are my own, and I don't wish to cause an argument." But I love it. Like it's on Twitter and stuff like that, isn't it? My views expressed are my own and not representative of my employment.
Yeah, but it's also when people say with due respect as well. It's never with due respect. If somebody says with due respect, you think there's no respect and it's not due.
I don't mean to be they're about to be whatever.
I don't want to be rude, but
yeah,
we normally get that at dinner time with Jack and pasta. I don't want to be rude, Mum, but I don't like pasta. God, a bit like you with Albie walking. We've recently gone from Mummy and Daddy. It's now firmly Mum and Dad.
Oh yeah, yeah. We lost that a long time ago.
That felt like the end of an era. And I know some families still, you get grown-ups that say Daddy and Mummy.
Yeah,
it's normally posher people, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is. You're right. And then if they're super posh, it's Ma or Pa.
Levels of
sometimes
posh.
Mother. I don't like it when they refer to them as Mother.
Yes,
that sounds too impersonal to me.
Oh, do you think so? I think it sounds a bit Victorian.
Yeah, maybe that's better description for it.
Anyway, I don't want to be rude, but what was the question?
Right. Well, I'm going to try not to be contentious, but
okay.
Am I, and this is not me, this is not the royal I, this is John Kelly who's writing the question.
Stand by, everybody.
The only one that thinks Bruce Gilding contributes to street photography being shown in a bad light in some places. Whilst I have no doubt that he must possess some skill in photography, I think that his name and fame has been made by the sensationalism rather than his skills, and the fact he shows little respect for his unaware subjects. I'm all for freedom to take images in public, but even as a street photographer, I would struggle to not lump him one. Have you met Bruce Gilding? I wouldn't lump him very easily. No. Any thoughts? There are so many brilliant photographers that far exceed him, yet never get the chance. Many thanks, Bruce Gilding.
Do you remember last week we were talking about Joe Busing, Skip Cohen, and Dennis Reggie, weren't we? Mm-hmm. And though you didn't say it, there's the suggestion that, of course, they come from the old guard, and maybe the reason why there aren't... Well, there were many reasons you suggested for there not being a wedding photography book. One of them was that you didn't necessarily feel that people would buy it these days, that they've got YouTube, etc. But one of the other reasons was maybe these names are not so relevant to... I don't like that word, relevant. My brother-in-law used that over the New Year period, describing everybody we were watching on the Hootenanny. Not relevant, not relevant, not relevant.
I love the Hootenanny.
Yeah, I love the Hootenanny. It's New Year. It wouldn't be New Year without the Hootenanny.
Wasn't so good this year, though, was it? Because
it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
They were shortened, and they had that ridiculous social distancing thing going on that nobody else was doing on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, yes, that was a bit strange.
And what's his name was really drunk.
Who? The comedian?
Vic Mortimer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vic Mortimer. Was it Vic Mortimer?
No, really Vic Reeves. Drunk. No, it's Bob Mortimer. Vic Reeves.
No,
Vic Reeves.
It was Vic Reeves. Yes,
Vic Reeves. He's on it. He's on it all the time. But this year, yes, he was a bit worse for wear, I thought.
Yeah, he was a bit off. Anyway,
but anyway, Joe, Skip, and Reggie. And maybe now that there's a new draft of really good, skilled street photographers, that you could say the shock tactics that I think everybody loved so much about Bruce Gilding are not perhaps as... I'm not going to use the word relevant, because of course they're relevant, but maybe they've lost their shine?
Yeah, maybe. Yes, I mean, I agree with you totally. Just thinking that Joe, Skip and Reggie, that could be a 1970s folk band, couldn't it?
It could be, Joe, Skip and Reggie.
Yes. I definitely I think that to a certain extent. I agree with John in terms of the shop tactic is not everybody's cup of tea, for sure.
No.
I do think there is an element of skill involved in that, but I'm not going to open a Bruce Gilding book and look at those kind of shop street photos. That doesn't really interest me so much. However, what I will say...
Is it skill, though, Kev, or is it brashness and nerves?
I think it's a skill in terms of understanding the lighting. He needs to know, he needs to spot the subject. He needs to identify somebody he thinks is going to be interesting, but mostly the lighting, because, he's using, in some cases, a double-ended flash.
That's true.
So flash up, flash down, all of that. So there is skill involved. But if you look at some of his other work that isn't so much the street stuff, like his portrait work and the stuff in Minneapolis, I think it was, of the travelers, it's very brutalist work, but again, very, very skillful, very detailed close-up portraits of people on the fringes of society, and perhaps there's a little bit of, some people have accused it of being exploitation, but others have lauded it for being a way of kind of identifying and exposing the situations that these people are in. So there's a lot of strings to Bruce Gilding's bows, and John's right, he is mostly known for this kind of brutalist element of street photography. But again, what I will also say is I don't want us to ever fall into this situation where all we ever see from street photographers is a lonesome silhouette walking into the corner of a frame, because people are too scared to take pictures of people's faces. And I fear that's a route we may end up going somewhere. So,
Doogie Wallace is very similar along the lines of Gilding, isn't he, with his approach? And he's a sort of our homegrown talent in that respect from the UK.
Yeah, again, on the streets, but remember they all also do a lot of different stuff, elements of things in society that's not necessarily just on the streets, flash bash in your face, bish bosh bosh.
Yeah.
To the pub.
Have you ever tried that? I mean, with your street photography, have you ever I know that inspiration sometimes can lead you to try things that you otherwise wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable with. Have you done that?
No.
No.
I always say to people when I'm out shooting street that I would never take a photo of anything that I would not be comfortable being in that photo myself.
Yeah.
It's not my style.
If Bruce Gilden popped up on the streets of Malmesbury, just happening to be doing his latest book, and went bish bash bosh with his double-ended flash, bang in your face, what would you say?
I'd say, want to come to the pub and sign some books? And that's it, isn't it? I mean, you wouldn't like it. It's simple as that. Nobody would appreciate that. They just wouldn't. And some of the subjects are older. I mean, there's a documentary on YouTube. It's freely available. I think we have it on the video page on our website. It's Bruce Gill. I think he's in Bradford, in the Bradford shopping centre. And there's this old woman that gives him a ride going over. She practically hits him with a handbag. Right. And then he talks to her and everything. So it's, I mean, no, it's not my style, not my scene. I don't really enjoy it as such. I can appreciate where it had a place, it had a time. And I think maybe to a certain extent, it's even more relevant now because of maybe we do need a prince to stand up against this mechanism, this basically fascism of society that's saying you can't take pictures anymore. Maybe we do need somebody like Bruce to say, "F*** you."
Officially at the conference.
I've seen him. He pulls no punches.
Oh, he doesn't take prisoners. Have you seen him do a portfolio review?
He does do portfolio reviews. Yeah, Magnum often offer portfolio reviews. You can, if you go to the Magnum site and sign up for their newsletter, you'll get a newsletter approximately once every 3 hours trying to sell you something. But occasionally you'll get the portfolio review options and you can sign up. They're expensive.
Yeah.
But if you can get the right photographer, then it's going to be invaluable, isn't it?
I think if you do a little search on YouTube, you'll also find some portfolio reviews by Bruce Gilden. They're very good. They're very good, actually.
Yeah. I had one done by Martin Parr.
Oh.
And it was, brilliant.
Are we allowed to? I think didn't we talk about this, Kev?
Yeah, we've talked about it before.
What did Martin say? I think he was quite good about you.
Yeah, he was reasonly okay.
Yeah, I thought he was.
I didn't go away with too many butterflies in my tummy.
Too many bruises.
Yeah.
But I mean, so did you do that through Magnum or did you do that through the foundation that you're?
No, that was through the foundation. But the original email came via Magnum.
Yeah. John Falavalita. Hello, guys. I've been listening to the show for a bit, but this is my first time writing in. Kudos on the show. It's a lot of fun. Makes my Monday morning here in the States more bearable. I have a couple of boring gear. They're never boring. Boring gear-related questions. Are you ready for these, Kev? Because these are really sort of aimed at you, sir. How do you find the X-T4 versus the X-T3? Well, definitely this one because I've never used the X-T4. Is the autofocus better? How good is the IBIS? We talked about IBIS a lot of late, I know, but we can do that again. Is it worth upgrading from an X-T3 if I see one kicking around at a reasonable price? We'll deal with that one first. There's two questions. Yeah,
so technically the autofocus speed is no difference. Although some people were saying, yeah, it does appear to be. So technically, I think the official line is that there's no difference because it's the same sensor and everything. However, I think that the IBIS is really what kind of makes that difference. And so, yeah, we did talk about this last week and the week before, I think. Yes, basically, I would upgrade. I never thought I would, and it was only when I borrowed one that I realized actually I should.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'd buy another one. I'm not going to because I'm waiting to see what else happens this year. But I weddings aren't really on the scene at the minute. But if I had a busy wedding series, if I had like 4 weddings a month right now,
yeah,
I'd probably be buying a second one.
So would you work with 2 bodies? Because you don't necessarily. I've always had to work with the same bodies. If I've got 2 bodies, I kind of know where I am. But you don't do that, do you? No,
I'm happy with different bodies, but I'm noticing a difference. So the X Pro 3 and the X-T4 is typically what I'll shoot with at the minute.
Yeah.
And the difference in bodies makes no difference to me. That like literally nothing. But the difference in results is noticeable now for me.
Yeah.
And maybe that's an age thing. I don't know, whatever. But it's definitely a thing. So I want to see what happens this year. Yeah. Usually, the kind of second quarter of the year is when Fujifilm make announcements on what's coming. So I'm going to wait and see.
What are you hoping for?
Well, I want an X-T4 with, an X Pro 4 with IBIS. I want a new X70. Yeah, that's it, really.
Do you want a new 35mm?
Oh, I want a 56 1.2 with linear motor, but I just can't see that happening. I really can't. I can see them updating the 56 1.2. I don't know if they'll be able to get the linear motor into it and still have an f1.2 aperture. My gut feeling is we'll see a 56 1.4 with linear motor.
Would you'd trade that off, wouldn't you? Surely.
Yeah.
That stop.
Yes. Although the 1.2 has a certain character to it, that depth of field is beautiful. It just pops. It does make a difference. 1.2 to 1.4 on APS-C. I think you notice it more than you would on full frame. Yeah, I just can't see them getting a 1.2 and linear motor and keeping it reasonably sized. The linear motors, if you notice the new 18mm and new 23mm, the 33, we've got no comparison with that, but they're all bigger.
I want it and I want it now, says Mullins.
Yes, no, give it to me now.
I want it, I'll stamp my foot. Second part of the question. What is your opinion of the 1024 Fujifilm lens? Specifically, I'm referring to version 1 this is. But I suppose this can apply to 1 or 2, since they are the same optically as I understand. I love the focal length, but under some circumstances that I can't nail down, I get blooming around light sources. It seems to be artificial light at night at the most, but it's a weird thing to reproduce. I ran into a forum post that I can't find again that claims somebody at Fujifilm had said to shoot at an aperture under 5.6, but that seems a little daft. Do either of you have any experience with this? I don't know. I've not had that. No,
I don't. I can't quite understand what's the crux of that question.
He's trying to work out, I think, here whether to buy himself a version 1 or version 2, whether it really makes any difference. Has it been improved to such an extent that he should be concerned about it?
Of the
1 or 2 in the 10 to 24.
Oh, sorry, that's the bit I missed. The 10 to 24 is the bit I missed.
Yeah. I suppose that was the important bit.
Yeah, I don't have either. I did have the 10 to 24 original one. I sold it because I never used it.
Did I tell you who you sold it to?
Have you got it?
You sold it to me. I bought it. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I knew I went somewhere.
Yeah, but no, that one
I did some kind of skill swap for it.
I think, maybe we did. Yeah.
I don't recall you ever giving me money.
That's not quite fair, Kev.
But I think I remember something. I think you gave me something.
Did we swap something for it?
We swapped something. Yeah, I think so. Something must have happened.
I know it's yours though, because it's got that Kev used look.
Well, I never used it, so God knows how that happened.
Well, no, you must have done.
Oh, I might have used it right at the beginning. I don't know.
It's a fine lens. It's my filming go-to.
You're better to answer that question then.
Well, but I haven't used the 2. You see, I've only ever used version 1. I've not had this this blooming around light sources.
I mean, I can't imagine that the correct answer is to shoot at f5.6 or above. That's not a good answer. If that is what Fujifilm are telling you.
No, it said under 5.6
or under 5.6. I still think that's not a good answer, is it? Not a satisfactory answer if that is the case. If you're in the Facebook group, go to the Facebook group and ask the second brainiest person in the world, Carl Hare. He will know the answer.
Who is the first, Kev?
Tim Vine.
Yeah, I know you say that every single time.
Jeremy Vine. Sorry, not Tim Vine. Jeremy Vine.
Jeremy Vine. Well, yeah. Tim Vine's pretty good as well. We've had his jokes.
Tim Vine might be third.
Tim's third. Okay. All right. Good luck with that, John. Have we got time for another question? Have we got a quick question there? QQ, Kev, or should we go?
QQ. Okay. Colin Monteith. Question for the show. Like it or not, but Apple revolutionized music with the iPod. They did, and then the iPhone, iPad. It's normal now to see an extension of that with Apple CarPlay and its competitor Android Auto.
Yep.
Needless to say that they did the same with a bunch of other things on the phone, but in particular, the whole ease of downloading, storing photos from a phone automatically with no issues at all. Is there a place for Apple and Android to license their software to cameras as the base manufacturers cannot get it right on a consistent basis? It might revive the standalone camera business a bit. So basically, the apps, can they make the apps better for downloading and stuff like that?
It is a question we've had before. I think we put this one forward to Andreas, haven't we, really?
We have. Colin Monteith, for some reason, is no longer a member of the group, so he will not see the fact that I've answered. I put my little emoji. I give him a love heart as well. So yeah, I mean, I think if you listen to the companies, they will say, well, look, we're camera manufacturers. We are not app manufacturers, and that is true. And where do you want their R&D to go? Do you want it to go into developing an app that only 2% of the people that use the cameras use, or would you rather it go into speeding the cameras up and making the ISO better and all of that kind of stuff? I know my answer to that is but yeah, I mean, the point is taken that there is technology out there that does make these things faster and quicker, and I'm guessing that when 5G becomes a thing, a proper thing, unlike it is right now, then we'll see a new wave of camera updates. That's my prediction. You saw it. You heard it here first. Actually, you didn't. You heard it here on the podcast last year, because that was my prediction then as well.
It didn't happen then.
No, but that's because 5G seems to have
It's gone very quiet, hasn't it, on the 5G?
Yeah. Malmesbury had no mobile phone reception for 2 months.
What?
None. All of the networks, because they all use the same masts. Nothing. Like nobody. It was ridiculous in Malmesbury. Absolutely ridiculous.
That explains why you didn't return a single one of my calls. I thought you just didn't have it anymore. Yes.
But they were blaming it. They were saying, "Oh yeah, we're upgrading the mast to 5G."
5G, and it never came.
Which meant they didn't have to refund us our money because it was an upgrade rather than a fault. But now it's all working again. There's no little 5G symbol on my phone. Nobody's got 5G. They get you in the end.
They do. They're coming for you, Mullins. They're coming for you. Right. This week's guest is Lucy Hamidzadeh, who is a street, portrait and commercial photographer. And of course, we've been speaking about her during the podcasts. And Kev got a chance to talk to her during the week.
Okay, everybody, today we have Lucy Hamidzadeh with us on the show. So thank you, Lucy, for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you.
Good.
All good. I had a bit of a cold actually in the week. It lasted for 2 days, I was going to say, and it panicked me. I went into panic mode.
Yeah.
But I'm all right now. It's weird.
I know, it's like people have forgotten that colds were a thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're all good. So where are you actually based? You're in South London, I think you said?
In Lewisham, South East London.
Nice, okay. And regular listeners to the podcast will remember that we reviewed Lucy's book recently. I think it was probably November time, maybe, that we talked about the book. Unfinished Stories is the book, and it's a wonderful publication, and it's as much about the images as it is about the words, I think. And that brings me on to my first kind of question, because on your website, there's a lovely quote that on your about page that says, for me, photography and writing are not just about capturing or scribing down a moment. It's about the freedom I have to make something unique when I pick up my camera or my pen and notebook. It's about tapping into my vision, expressing myself and using my imagination. I think that's the most interesting introduction to an about page I think I've ever read. I think that's wonderful. So are you a photographer or a writer or just an artist?
I'm an artist. I mean, my background before, I guess, was always in writing, because I worked for a travel company and I was doing their brochures and writing all their web content. And so I was looking at pretty pictures and interpreting them, glamorizing them, and it was selling a dream to somebody. So I think now, looking back at that, I think that's where my writing and my photography is now.
Yeah. Because
I look at something and I want to imagine what's happening. How can I make someone else feel or think something? It doesn't have to be what I'm thinking or feeling, but they interpret it as well. And I think that's the beauty of an image and words, because you'll agree or disagree with, or, I think we all of us use our past to interpret how we feel and think about something. Yeah, I agree. And I think, it was hard for me when I was looking at your work and looking at the Instagram feeds specifically, because that I think is also very wonderful, in that the words are almost as important as the pictures, I think. Now, of course, most of the people listening to the podcast are photographers, but I think, ultimately they are very much interested in this whole kind of art space. And that fascinates me. And I could never do that. I could never attach the same kind of elegance of words to images as you seem to be able to do.
Do you, when you go out shooting, are you first of all looking for the image, or do you have the thought process in mind of what you're looking for based on what you think you might be writing?
No, I just go out shooting. If something catches my eye, if there's something going on behind a window, or I'm walking in the street and I see some hands that are amazing, it's all about the photography. The words come later, like when I'm sitting back down, after editing. Or even when I'm editing, just thinking, what was happening in there. Or, it's a lot of the time it's my thoughts and my feelings, because I find it better to write than to say things out loud. And then just imagining what they're thinking or feeling, because we all have a story. And that's what I like observing people's stories is the one thing that I love. Just imagining, what we're all going through.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's refreshing to see it done like this, I think, in that, it's street photography is to a certain extent getting a bit of a bad rap sometimes, especially kind of pure candid street photography. And it's and I hate that happening. I think when you look at the work that you're producing and you see the importance of it really in terms of the stories, and it's art. There's nobody could look at any of these pictures and think there was anything misconstrued about them. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. Do you have any concerns like that at the moment in terms of the way that social media and press and everything is, kind of nagging at street photography?
Yeah, it's a lot harder than it was 3 years ago. Even then, especially when lots of things were happening in the world, it was harder. It's harder to capture. You have to be so mindful of everything now. Children is one of them, and I love taking pictures of children. But I've walked past just recently, just so many little kids pressed up against the window, and I want to bring my camera up, and I can't. I just can't. It upsets me because these pictures you look back on. It's capturing a moment in time. It's documenting life now, and it does upset me that there are so many constraints even in just not being worried about taking a picture of something that you see on the street.
And it's just such a shame, isn't it? I agree. And future generations will miss out on this entire period of basically pictures telling historic stories. But
I used to go on the underground quite a lot. I don't go on the underground anymore because people are so alert. It's like a heightened alertness, and I stay away from the underground now.
Why do you think this has happened? I have a theory that it's because basically everybody has a camera these days, phones and all that kind of stuff. If you look back at photo books and photography from even as recently as kind of the 90s, but certainly if you go back to the 80s and 70s, it was, if somebody took a picture of you in the street then you'd be like, oh wow, he's taking a picture or she's taking a picture. That's a great thing. I must be special. But now it's like, why are they taking a picture of me? Do you think is that a mix of social media or just the general amount of cameras that are out there?
I think it's a bit of both. I've been called a spy. I don't know how many times. I think it is. I think just people are just so much more alert, and because of social media, some of them want to be captured. They think it's their moment of fame. They don't know where it's going to end up. And then others are just a bit more suspicious of why are you doing this? And they don't, no one ever asks these days. They used to be kind of curious, and now they just look at you. And
I've noticed the same. It is a struggle. However, you still seem to be managing to produce these incredible pictures. Now tell me so let's think about the images in Unfinished Stories, which was the book released according to your website 2019. So it's been out for a little while now, and it's obviously widely available. And there are some, when I look at the images in there, I think these are just incredibly candid, but also creative. So are there double exposures in some of them? Is it simply reflection? It's just my favorite one. I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, my favorite ones are the hands, just the hands in coffee shops and things like that. It just makes my mind wander and wander. I want to wander up this invisible arm and see this character and think, what are they doing there? Where did their life go after they had this coffee? That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I love hands. You'll often find me just standing somewhere just behind someone's bottom, like taking their hands, because so many people have them behind their back. And yeah, I love hands. Yeah. There's so many textures. Like, why do we carry a carrier bag the way we do? There's so many ways that people will hold a carrier bag, like entwined in their fingers on one finger. I find that fascinating. So I've got a collection of those.
Yeah, that is amazing. So the like I said, the book, there's all kinds of different types of images, if you like. Mm-hmm. How did you curate it? What was the selection process like for that?
It was pretty. I mean, there was this body of work. I think it came together on its own, if that makes sense, because they're all quite intimate images. And I guess everyone has an interpretation of what a street photo is, and I believe mine's a little bit more intimate than some. And so it was kind of there. I mean, the reflections photos, they're all reflections. They're not double exposure, because I can't be bothered in Photoshop, and I wouldn't know how to do it. And I love, they were already there. The story was there. So curating it was easy in a way with the publishers who did a lot of the selection process. I just sent them all my favorite photos and they picked them. Yeah. So that was easy. And the sections were already kind of together, and it was just a matter of writing something for each kind of section.
Did they not select any images that you thought, oh, why have they not picked that one?
Yeah. And then they picked a couple that I was a bit like, why did I include that? So there are a few in there that I'm like, ooh. Yeah. I wish I'd not sent that one. Well, and yeah, there are some that I love, and then they're not there.
Yeah, well, I think they're all amazing, so you don't need to worry about that in that respect. But so that was the publication. But your career, as you said, you started, I think, as a writer or designer for a travel agency or a travel firm. What happened? How did this kind of leap from corporate life into published photographer, stroke writer, stroke artist happen? Where did the crossover come?
Well, it was made easy because Monarch went bust.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, I've been there for 20 years.
They took some of my money with them, by the way.
Did they? I'm so I feel so bad for everybody, honestly. There's me pouring my tears on the day it happened, and then there was all these people that were waiting to go on holiday. Yeah. I've been there for 20 years. And I guess I found photography maybe in like 2015. I mean, we always had cameras in the house. I was always quite creative anyway, and the job was creative. But I went to an Instagram meetup because I was actually super shy. I would never have gone up to a stranger. I would never have done anything on my own. Mm-hmm. And my friends were all at work. There was nothing outside of work, and I had an eating disorder, which I had for quite a few years. So I was very introverted. And just I was in mid-30s, and I was like, I need something for myself. And so I went to an Instagram meet, which was the scariest thing because there was so many people. Everyone was chatting, and I was like, no, this is weird. And it was the best thing. And I signed up for every other meet in the future, and I couldn't stop going to them. And it was just lovely, just meeting. And it was mine. It was something that I could do on my go to. And I got so much confidence from that, speaking to people that loved photography. Mm-hmm. You had this shared connection with them. Yeah. And from that, I just met, I guess I was inspired by some of them who were doing street work, who were going on the underground, who were doing lookups. And so I experimented. But people was something that I was always drawn to. Yeah. Okay. And I think if you scroll back through my feed on my Instagram, you can see that I was quite far away to start with from the person in the distance, and then I gradually got closer and closer.
And Lucy Hamidzadeh, the street portrait and commercial photographer, returns next week for part 2 of 2 episodes, talking to our Kev. There's a fascinating conversation too over on the Photo Walk edition of Photography Daily, the podcast, this coming Friday. John Carmichael made what's considered to be, well, by many, the best totality eclipse photograph ever. And he did it from an airliner at 39,000 feet, under circumstances that he wasn't quite expecting. And he's subsequently gone on to be one of the focus photographers in Sir Elton John's collection.
This moment in time was, for one day, everybody just paused, and every news network you can think of, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, literally everyone was covering this positive, uniting story, and everybody just, millions, tens of millions of people came together and looked up. And everybody, for a brief moment in time, became an astronomer. John
Carmichael is my guest on Photography Daily this coming Friday, wherever you get your podcasts, or photographydaily.show. If you like your country music, mark it in your diary that Kev is on incapablestaircase.com with his country music show at 3:30pm UK time as the internet radio station DJ Country Boyo. Kev will guide you through some of the most loved and most recognised country classics, plus some that aren't so well known too. Kev's country music show is on incapablestaircase.com this Thursday, 3:30 UK time in the afternoon. Right, back to your questions. While the interview was on, by the way, Kev told me you were buying, Oculus or something? What were you doing?
Albie's got one. Albie's got an Oculus Quest VR system.
Okay.
It's amazing. You can just put your head in it and then disappear into an entire new world. I go and sit in this, this ski resort in the Alps. I've got this lovely big house. I can wander around. I sit on the sofa and I can watch Netflix like it's in a cinema through this. It's phenomenal.
So you're looking at a room as if it's a real. Are you physically walking? Do you know?
Well, you can't physically walk too far because you're restricted by the boundaries of the room you're in. But you can move around.
Does it work that out as well? Is it that clever that it knows how big your room is?
Yeah, you use the little handheld things to draw a boundary. So you can draw boundaries, and then as soon as if you go out of that boundary or somebody comes too close to you, the screen goes off. But everything you see real life then through your goggles, but it's in black and white. It's absolutely, and it's made by Facebook. Oh, it's not made by them, but they bought it, so it's all Facebook. The money's going to Facebook, but I have to say, word.
Where can you? So you've chosen to spend your life in the Alps.
Yeah.
What, are there other places you can?
Oh, you go anywhere. Yeah, absolutely anywhere. Dave, my friend Dave, who's in the office opposite's got one, and he likes to go wandering through jungles and things like that. And there's games. I play table tennis. It's like having a proper workout.
Wow.
Honestly, it's absolutely brilliant. And you get this tactile feedback in the receivers in your hands. It feels like, and you can do top spins and all that kind of, it's just mind blowing.
And how much are the games?
Oh, the games are, it's not like, they're reasonable. So you can get, I mean, there's a whole load of stuff that's free.
Yeah.
And then you can get them for like 99p. It's like App Store type stuff.
Right.
I mean, you can get some that are more expensive. I think the table tennis one was like 10 quid or something. But yeah, I mean, there's one called, well, the one that Albie likes to play, which I've played quite a bit as well, is this, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's basically music, and you get these blocks are thrown at you, and you have to hit the blocks with your lightsabers effectively. And you have to hit the blocks. There's an arrow on each block, so you have to either hit it up or down, and the music's playing, and then you get ones that come above you, and you have to duck down and jump over them and everything. It's a real workout.
Hang on a minute. Have you got two of these then, so you can play each other?
No, you can't. No. You could get two and play against each other, but no, we've only got one.
Oculus. There we go.
Oculus Quest.
Oculus Quest. Can you sit in your? Is there a pro? Knowing how much you like them, is there a program so you can sit in a hot tub?
Wouldn't that be amazing? Oh no,
hey?
I could wear it in the bath,
yeah,
and then be in the Alps.
How are you gonna get the bubbles?
You're gonna have to do the rest of the podcast by yourself. I'm going home. Sorry, that's it.
You sit in the bath, blowing your bubbles in the Alps, looking out across the snow scene.
Oh my word!
Hey, it's a whole new world, Kev.
Yeah,
a whole new world. Hey, you soon. Do you know? Maybe you'll be able to set scenarios in the not too distant future. So you're doing stuff like, can you imagine an Oculus Quest course on street photography? Where
it's the future. I'm telling you.
Well,
yeah.
Actually, you could be referring back to Bruce Gilden. Now you could be jumping out in front of people to just test the water, how does it feel?
Honestly, you are right. And it's worrying. It's worrying, but I feel like that's the way that the world will go.
Yeah.
For sure.
Why go out anymore? Just stay in and put an Oculus set on your bonce and be in a whole new world.
I know.
Knowing you'd just take it down the co-op.
I wouldn't need to take it. I could go down the co-op by myself in the world.
That's it. Right, questions. Facebook. That's amazing. I feel, where have you been, Grandad? I do feel a little bit like that now. But so back to questions. Facebook first. Then we've got. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago? Let me just find the email here. There we go. A couple of weeks ago, Chris Leyland sent in a list of questions. And he's done it again, which is fine. So we'll have that in a moment. It's the Chris Leyland moment, which could be a feature of the show. Let's have a Facebook question first, though.
Okay, so Steve Bueckert, Bueckert, Bueckert. Bueckert.
We'll take that. You've got it.
Discovered your podcast a few months ago and loving it. Great Fujifilm-related content and great entertainment. Ho ho ho! A bit of a philosophical question for you.
We'll get
Every time I discover a new photographer, YouTuber, podcaster that I respect and follow for photography inspiration, they almost always turn out to be from the UK.
Oh.
Why does it feel like for context, I missed the first sentence out because it was a Happy New Year sentence. And
and you're steering clear of the Happy New Year's.
Yes, but he did say Happy New Year from Vancouver.
Okay.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Why does it feel like the UK produces a disproportionate amount of incredible photographers? Is it a question of a nature over nurture? Thanks for all the efforts you put into the Futurecast. I must go as I'm off to a drinks reception. Damn it. Got me.
Well, don't you know, whenever you're born in this country, instantly you are given a camera. It's what we've done since 1956. That's why. Next question.
It's an interesting point, that, isn't it? Because I don't feel that.
I don't either.
I feel like we do have amazing photographers, of course, and YouTubers and everything.
Yeah.
But like, if I think of YouTube as a circle, as a globe, I would say a vast majority of the people that I watch, and I don't watch too much YouTube in terms of photography stuff these days, not because I don't think it's worth it, but just because I got sick of the Americanisms of it. I have to say, and I don't mean that to be
careful.
No, I don't mean it to be, the whole kind of, skateboarding and making coffee first and all of that kind of stuff. I'm like, that just.
But don't you think though that Americans and Canadians, because let's be honest here, we're probably thinking Peter McKinnon a little bit.
Did you say Americans and Canadians in the same sentence?
I know. But there is something about the lilt of speaking with that tongue that kind of works when you're on a skateboard or a one wheel or a boosted board. That doesn't quite work when you've got Johnny from England doing it.
I tell you, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because I watch a couple of guitar YouTube, and this has been a whole new revelation. So the things I watch on YouTube these days, if you went to my YouTube, if you logged into my YouTube thing, and it shows you suggestions.
Yeah,
it will be guitars, judo. And that's it, mostly. Chess has been bumped down to third, and then photography and all that. I don't get any recommendations for that anymore. It's all kind of guitars and judo, and that tells you a lot about my circumstances, my kind of position, I suppose. However, Gemma said it the other day. There was a YouTuber I was watching, a guitar player. She's a phenomenal guitar player, absolutely, and she's an amazing musician. But she's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And she does these lessons, and she's got 11 million subscribers. It's a ridiculous amount. She's got probably more subscribers than people that actually play guitar in the whole world. And Gemma's point was, I wonder, if you weren't that good at the guitar, Kev, and you had a channel, I wonder how many people would be subscribing to see you sat in your.
I'm kind of relieved. I'm relieved.
Jumper and your small pants playing the guitar.
Well, if you were wearing your pants, Kev, I don't know. I'm kind of relieved that Gemma said it, because for a minute I was thinking,
warning.
Oh no, this is going to be a nightmare to edit.
I agree with her as well. I mean, it's the same with the photography stuff. There's what I noticed about the for some reason I started my YouTube stuff got infiltrated by it seemed to think I was interested in young, good-looking men telling me how to live my life more fulfillingly. My top best 5 books I've ever read: How to Make Your Life Better,
but hang on a moment.
how to get out of debt, how to, and he sat there with his quiff and his, his thin belly and his, Manhattan mansion, and I'm thinking, this is f***ing shit. And he's got like 250,000 views, 6 million subscribers. And I'm like, nah, this is because of what his aspirational life and who he is and what he looks like. This has nothing to do with good content.
For a while, though, you watched that doctor. I can't remember his name. Ali. He's an English doctor, and he is all about, life choices and stuff. And you watched him. Yeah. And
I
actually,
still watch.
But I wonder why. That's maybe why YouTube is now serving you up with how to improve your life, Kev.
Might be, but his content was very different. And actually, I don't so much watch his videos now, but I always read his newsletter. Very, very interesting character.
Yes, he is.
So he's now ditched being a doctor. He's now
really?
His job title now is an entrepreneur. He is phenomenally successful, and he's not annoying in that he's doing anything wrong or right or anything like that, or it's just this constant how I make myself get up in the morning. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's rubbish. You roll out of bed and you put your socks on like everybody else does, and all of this stuff. But I have to say, with Ali Abdul, I think his surname is, he has gone from 0 to huge in 18 months.
But he also had ways to study as well, didn't he? He sort of advised you on best routes to... Some of that might have disappeared, of course, now, I suppose, because all that study note stuff was built around his medical exams, wasn't it?
Yeah, his content was always good. That's the reason why I liked it. There was annoying elements of it in that, my life is perfect kind of thing. But actually, his content was always really, really, really good. And he never went down the route of doing the cutscenes and everything that was irrelevant. So it was very good content, very well filmed, very well produced, all from the beginning. And good luck to him. I mean, that guy deserves everything he gets in terms of
Ali Abdal is his name, yeah.
Ali Abdal, yeah, and he's very good. Basically, man, woman, beast, whatever. If you're good looking, you can get good stuff on YouTube.
Do you think that's what it's all about?
Yeah, it's nothing to do with talent. That's why you've just been demonetized and I'm next on the list.
Yes, I think it's all becoming abundantly clear to me, Kev. Oh dear, the YouTube career's over. There used to be a guy that we watched. Let's not say his name, but there used to be a guy that we watched who was trying to be the English version of Pete McKinnon. Pete McKinnon and Casey Neistat. Okay, we got American and Canadian in the same sentence. I apologise. I'm not trying to upset anybody, but they look like they belong on boosted boards and one wheels and motorised scooters and stuff. Do you remember the English guy that we used to watch that used to do it?
Yeah.
It was like, don't do it. And I saw somebody the other day up at Greenham Common at the airbase where we walked Barney, and he came along and honestly, look, you cannot go on a motorised skateboard when you reach the age of 40. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. It does not work. Doesn't work.
I got an RB scooter.
Do you? No, Kev.
Yeah.
Do you wear the helmet and the knee pads and everything?
Nah, good God, no. We got massive horses running around us. Your helmet's not going to help.
Scott Morrison, should he be on his skateboard?
Stop it.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. Stop it now, Kevin. What was the question, by the way?
Was there a question? It was about, why are British people so much better than the rest of the world?
Yeah, and we don't believe they are.
We don't believe they are. No, I think it's a perspective thing. Yes.
Maybe it's like the grass is always greener sort of thing, isn't it? When you look at people in other countries and think, you look cool. It's a bit like me with looking at McKinnon and thinking, fantastic channel, understanding entirely why he's got the popularity he has. But thinking, but you couldn't do it if you were English bloke. Is
he still? Because the last time I looked at McKinnon was about 2 years ago, and he made a video on New Year's Eve, and he said, "That's it, I'm not making any more." Yeah,
but that was no. He's definitely here because look, one day ago, YouTube Shorts make or break your channel. 130,000 views straight away. Boof. And 6 days ago, I got COVID. It was bad. 300,000 views. Boof, straight away. So there we go. Yeah, and then he's released.
Definitely not watching that one.
His everyday backpack. he's released as well. See, that's what you need. Merch, Kev. Merch. That's what you need.
Well, he did that.
Mullins merch.
He did a full vlog every day, didn't he? His entire life was on there.
Yeah. Well, no, that was Casey.
That's what I'm on about, Casey. Sorry.
No,
I didn't mean McKinnon. Sorry, I meant Casey. I know McKinnon's still there.
Yeah.
I meant Casey Neistat. Sorry. That's what I meant.
No, he doesn't do so many these days, does he, Casey Neistat?
He stopped about 2 years ago, and then he seemed to that was it. He didn't move to Florida or something, and then went. That's it.
Although the latest videos are back in New York. Hidden video camera in my custom glasses. 1.6 million views.
Hidden video
camera, yeah.
Anyway, Steve Buickett, thank you for the question. I've given you my favourite emoticon, which is me in bed holding my little heart.
Ah, that's nice, Kev. That's how much he loves you. Right, Chris Leyland. Now, this is a multi-question one, so it could take us through to the end of the show. Who knows? Let's see where we go. Otherwise, we'll have another QQ off the FB. Hello again. Thanks for reading out my questions. Sounded really weird hearing your own name on a podcast. Kev, I think it hit a nerve assuming you have scratched lenses. I apologise. He apologised to you, Kev. But you don't use dividers. Don't get me started on the boxes. You don't clean your sensors. You don't use lens caps. You misplace 23mm lenses. No, it's a 35. And you've lost your pancake lenses. You throw Lumi Muses on the floor, but you draw the line at scratch lenses. He doesn't.
I just don't have any scratch lenses.
Oh, I don't know what. You must have sort of a force field round them. So a few more questions, clarifications on the last one. Sorry, not Margate, Cargate Collective. No, you mean Cargate Collective, the photography.
So he asked us, he said, how's your Margate Collective
going? That's right, yes.
I have no idea what you're on about.
It's Cargate. Well, maybe that would be successful, a Margate Collective. Question 2. He didn't even start with a 1. We've sort of gone straight for 2. Here's one to stir the pot. Kev and yourself have said before, so Kev and I have said before that if you were too ill or a family emergency stopped you from attending a client's wedding, you would stand in for each other, if you could. My question, though, is more for Kev. So, Neil, you can't do the wedding, and Kev says he'll stand in for you. Your client has hired you because you do a mix of doc, portraits, and group shots. Kev, you know where this is going, Kev, hates doing portraits and group shots, but would you make an exception and use some of your very limited smiles and do the portraits and the group shots? So this is quite an interesting question because it's a wider question, this, isn't it? If you're asked to... Let's turn this slightly on its head. Say one of our friends that does very highly stylized weddings. Maybe Sanjay were to say, Kev, Neil, I need you to fill in. I've got the lurgy. Can you do it? Would we do it? Would we feel comfortable, and would we do it in the style that Sanjay does it?
Well, I would do it, but I wouldn't be able to do it in the way Sanjay does it.
I mean, these beautiful, beautiful portraits that he does.
Yeah, I just wouldn't. No, I couldn't. He's far more talented than I am at that kind of stuff. So no, I couldn't. I would not in any imagination expect Sanjay to say to me, Kev, can you cover a wedding for me? Because his stuff is just so far different. However, if you were to say to me, can you cover a wedding for me? And let's just say, I know you don't actually, I don't think you're that much different to me, but let's just say there was 10 group shots.
I'd probably do a few more portraits and groups. We
hypothetically.
Yeah.
I'd do them. I'd do them because, I know that your kind of portraits and everything are, you'd be better than me at them, but I think I could probably reasonably pass. Group shots, aren't they? Yeah. So I think there's a slight difference. I mean, it's a very good point because you would have to explain to the client, I think, that obviously somebody else is coming, and I would, I've always thought, luckily this has never had to happen, although it did happen once with the snow, and Alistair shot it for me, but Alistair couldn't get there either, so he had to get somebody else to shoot it. Anyway, they liked the pictures, and I went on to shoot the sister's wedding, so which was in France, and then they came on the workshops. So yes, you'd have to explain that it was a different person, but I would say if you were shooting for me, I would say my friend Neil is doing it for me. He's a very similar style to me. You nothing will be different on the day. That's what I would say. Yeah, basically.
I think clients, they'd be pleased to have a wedding photographer there, wouldn't they? I mean, sometimes you see forums or some, where they can't get a wedding photographer on that day. It's interesting, isn't it? Right at the start of COVID, all these groups popped up to support each other and fill in for each other. I joined several. I never got asked by one single. This is not me being a COVID denier, by the way. I might quickly add. This is not that podcast. But I never got asked at all. I don't believe many people dropped out of their weddings.
I know it happened. I know some people it was an issue, but yeah, not that many. I have to say,
not to the number that we were all expecting, was it?
I did see quite a few people. No, I'm not going to say it.
Say it. No.
Okay, I did see quite a few people. I'll say it. I did see quite a few people. I say quite a few, not many, a few, a couple, using the whole COVID thing as an excuse. I'm not sure it's COVID, but I'm really not feeling very well. And could anybody do my wedding for me tomorrow?
What?
And then on the Sunday or the Saturday, they're off having fish and chips down the beach. It wasn't COVID. It was a cold.
That is not playing cricket.
No. Don't talk to me about cricket.
Question 3. Kev, when are you going... This is... I'm saying this like I think he's writing it. I could be wrong. Kev, when are you going to pull your finger out and update the Ministry of Shadows? Don't worry about feeding the kids and paying the mortgage. We want to see more photo essays.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And I've got quite a few in the backlog. Basically, what happens in my life these days is I'm totally up to date now in my editing.
Yep.
I've got loads of other things I should be doing, such as the Cargate Collective, the new theme we've got on there, F16, YouTube, Ministry of Shadows, new workshops, all of those things should be doing. But basically what I do is I sit in the studio and practice the guitar.
And you go on that Oculus thingy.
And that, well, the Oculus as a home. And I noodle all day long, which is very bad.
You noodle all day long?
Yeah, and Gemma will be listening to this now going, I knew it. He's not sitting there working. He tells me all the time he's working. He's blah, blah, blah. He's noodling on his guitar.
Yeah, does Gemma listen? You shouldn't say...
Yeah, she always listens.
You shouldn't say these...
First thing on a Monday morning, that's all I hear is my voice following up the stairs.
These secrets, then. You're giving your secrets away, Kev. Question 4, I don't think either of us can answer this one. I haven't heard anything about Gump, the fact checker, for a while. I hope he's okay. Yeah. Alan Gump, wasn't it? We haven't heard for a long... You're quite right. I hope... Alan, are you out there? Question 5. If your calendar was free for 6 months and all your bills were paid... Oh, that's a dream. Do you know of all the lotto games that you can play? My favourite one is not the one where you could win 185 gazillion euros or pounds. It's the Set for Life one, where you would get £10,000 per month for the next 30 years.
Mm.
I think that, I mean, you'd have more than you need. Well, in my lifestyle, more than I need. But it wouldn't spoil you. You wouldn't suddenly go out and buy a pack of Jet Rangers and then start gambling unnecessarily, every other Tuesday.
No.
Am I making sense there? The £10,000 a month for the next 30 years just seems to me more appealing and not quite so greedy.
Yes, I'll be asking me this question the other day, funny enough. It must be something that's doing the rounds in the schools. Would you rather...
Yeah.
Would you rather £1.5 million or £10,000 a month for the rest of your life, or for 30 years? And I was like, just do the maths, Albs. What's 10,000 times 12? 120,000. Like, right, okay. So it doesn't take long, does it, before you're going to get to your 1 million? You're going to say like 4 or 5 years or whatever. So think about it.
Never going to be as much as
£10,000 is a lot more money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 1.5 million, Dad. Like, yeah, I know. Yeah. Think about it. Yes. Yeah, but imagine what you could do with 1.5 million, Dad. Yes, but think about it. I know, Dad, but what about 1.5 million?
He's not quite understanding that, is he? Yeah. He'd want to win the Euro Millions, wouldn't he, really? So your calendar's free for 6 months. All your bills are paid. The kids are at university or wherever, and your wives allow you to go any